to meet you all. You look like a biker flight student, so I'm very honored to be here. Before I start, would anybody like to know, raise your hand, a secret about your professor? If you like to know. That's one. Just remember who put up the hands first. Okay. Cool, thank you. So, when we say that, about a year ago, I met your professor at a rooftop in Bangkok. And now you're wondering, what is he doing in a rooftop in Bangkok? You can be wondering, what am I doing there? But we both found each other through our common love for bachata, which is a Latin dance style. And it was super interesting because after seeing each other on the dance floor first, so this is the secret, he actually is very good at dancing bachata. We talked about what do you do? So I introduced myself, and I'll first give you the big outline for today, but I said I'm into branding, building websites, and doing systems or automation to make sure that people make a lot of money. And he's like, this is super interesting. I teach this at American University in Dubai. Would you like to come over and explain that to me in my class and give some insights from the industry? And almost a year later, 1.5 years later, I'm here, and that's how I ended up here. I'll tell you a little bit more about myself, but first I'll tell you the brief outline of what we're going to discuss today. So there's the big picture. We're going to go over 3 questions and an intro, because the questions are super, super powerful. And then I'll dive into the meat of this presentation. I'll tell you guys about funnel hacking, as you can see. So you might know by now what a funnel is, and you might know what hacking might be, but we're going to do funnel hacking. I'm going to talk about frameworks, some funnel hacks. I'm going to illustrate some tools that I use in the field, in the industry right now, and also techniques. Then I'll give you the key takeaways of this presentation so you know what you can take with you for the rest of your lives and be incredibly wealthy branding experts. And then finally we'll do a Q&A if you have any questions left. Okay, sounds good, everybody? Let's dive into it. So, what is the secret to success? Oh, so can you just play this? Sorry, a little dramatic intro. So, why would you even listen to me, guys? Well, I've been working with multi-millionaires when it comes to brands, websites, and automations. And I've done that from scratch. I never went to university like you amazing people have the opportunity to do so. And this is my company, so we make millions of brands using a bunch of things, tools, type forms, all of that. Now, the secret I will tell you at the end. I will tell you the secret of the success at the end. Can you click out so we can, like just here, outside? Thank you. Because I think it only works like that. Yeah, perfect. So a little bit before we jump in is I want you to write these questions down. Either on your MacBook, but if you have a piece of paper, that'd be a little better. So please take out your notes, everybody. And I want you to write down the first question. These questions are very, very important because we're going to use them at the end to illustrate the power of how important they actually are. So the first one, you can write them also down very briefly. You can just say wildest dreams, so I'll read it out loud. What are your wildest dreams? If time, money, and location was not a limiting factor. So think of yourself, you know? Some of you might want to do something special in another place. Some of you are already living their wildest dreams. But if time, location, and money were not a limiting factor. I'll give you a few minutes to think about that, and soon enough we'll go to the next one. Try to write down in maybe like a few pointers, you know, have a horse, have a ranch, help my mom, help my dad, be super good or be super smart, whatever it is, right? If you got that down, let's go over to the next one. So, what are you willing to sacrifice or give up right now in your life to get there? In other words, if you think about your wildest dreams, what are some obstacles that are holding you back in this moment? Maybe it's your discipline. Maybe it's your consistency. Maybe it's your fear or your lack of mindset that you can't do it, that you're not worth it, that you don't have the ability to do so. Maybe it's other people saying no. And you have to understand that your wildest dreams can only be reached if you overcome the obstacle. I'll hit on this point later in the presentation with the framework I'm going to give you that you might already be familiar with. But please write down again what are the obstacles that you need to overcome in order to get there. And yeah, you can take pictures of the questions if you need to. Any slides, I will give them away after the presentation. Inside the slides will also be a bunch of links and resources that you can use. that I use in my own company, in my own agency. But yeah, if you got that down, let's go to the last question. Everybody good? Okay. Now imagine you've reached that place of success, that place of achievement, right? What would your successful self, how would they answer those two questions? Now take a good look at your questions. Imagine you've already reached that point that you wanted. You've overcome those obstacles. Do you realize and see that your ideal self would have another goal to reach? Right? So however big you're thinking right now, understand that you're just one question away of thinking even bigger. Okay. Hope we're good. So who am I? Well, I was shipped in a box from Afghanistan to the Netherlands. That's how I started. I was born in Afghanistan during a time of war, and then I was brought to the Netherlands. And in Eastern families and Arab families, you have three options. You can become a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or a failure. So actually four, right? I chose the first one. I chose to become a doctor. I tried my best. I got my bachelor's degree. And then halfway through my master, I realized this sucks. I don't want to do this. I was also very lucky because I couldn't content myself in medicine. I was doing a lot of creative stuff. I was interested in design, in branding, in websites. Eventually, I even reached the point of becoming a boy band member out of pure randomness. And my abs were seen on international television. Kiss me. We're all waiting for you. Come in. Forward. Yeah.
Where's my professor?
Okay, so yeah, that happened, and I knew that okay, medicine isn't really the thing for me because no other medical students were really doing that, and we're getting to those heights. So I dove into self-development. I started buying an online service course. After I've done that, I started traveling the world, and I quickly became, after meeting some random people in Bali, the CTO of a crypto investment fund. This is me in Istanbul on the 42nd floor of our office that I helped design. Here's a poster of Elon Musk, one of my heroes that I, helped decorate and stuff. But I understood there's a lot going on here, and the skills you have of understanding people can be a golden gateway to allow you to become something so valuable to a lot of companies. The same person that mentored me into high-ticket sales, I became partners with him, and I started running his company and having a share in it and all of that. And yeah, now I'm living in a great multiple six-figure agency life, traveling around the world and speaking to young, bright kids like you. So that's a good reason to listen to me. But again, I said, what's the secret, Seyed? What is the secret of all of it? Well, stick around to the end and you can find out. Before we do that, let's jump into the meat. But I'm actually here to deliver to you the value that I can bring to you. So we'll talk about funnel hacking, the science behind it. I'll give you some tips and tricks from an industry perspective, right? Now, here's a question to all of you. I want anyone that has an answer to raise their hand. So what do we all have in common? That could be a lot of things, so I'm going to specify it a little bit. When it comes to our development as humans, who has an idea? What do we all have in common?
The ability to think.
The ability to think, sure. Yep.
Brain.
Brain?
Brains.
Okay, cool. So it's all about thinking. But if I talk about development, a child can think, right? But isn't developing if it just thinks?
You learn.
Learning. So what does learning entail? First, you don't know something,
And then you learn.
and then you do. But what's in between the not knowing and the knowing? There must be something.
Effort. Effort.
Yes, afraid. So huh?
Effort.
Effort, exactly. And what things require effort, guys?
Studying, for example.
Studying. Is studying easy or hard?
Depends.
It depends, right? But if it wasn't hard, would you say that you're learning something?
No.
Exactly. So we're really getting towards the point that I want to hammer home. What we all have in common, that's a question that also great thinkers and philosophers thought about. And what we're getting towards is you can never gain something of value without sacrificing something else. There's nothing that you can learn without overcoming obstacles. So studying has to be hard, Learning as a child, you will painful, yes sir?
Oh, failure?
Failure, exactly. So Carl Jung, let's start there. Carl Jung was one of the greatest thinkers of the last century. He is an analytical psychologist. He's created a lot of the things that we refer to today as like synchronicity. You know, when some things happen in accordance like the universe wants it. Or he is also the founder of the archetypes, the wise man and the young kid, right? So he really, really dove into this question. And he also invented words like extrovert and introvert. Carl Jung has done a lot of work on understanding of human psychology. Another one of his contemporaries after him is Joseph Campbell. And maybe who knows here who Joseph Campbell is? Raise your hand if you do. Nobody? I'm so happy I can teach you guys something. So Joseph Campbell is one of the most famous literary storytellers. He's a person, and you guys are all into branding and understanding humans and consumerism. You understand that stories sell, right? At the end of the day, all of us, we want to be able to convert people. That's what we always talk about. This guy was the inventor of the monomyth, or the hero's journey. What I said before, there is no development without struggle. We need to struggle. If you go to the gym and you want to get bigger muscles, you need to feel the pain of the exercise that you're doing. If you want to lose weight, you need to feel the pain of saying no to that sweet with the baklava. And I know a lot of you are fasting right now, so sorry if I talk about food. But he developed the monomyth. And he wrote the book called The Hero with 1,000 Faces. And this book is basically the structure, the architecture of every story that you're going to tell in your life, if you want to tell a compelling and good story. So who's familiar with the hero's journey? The hero's journey? Okay, think of your favorite movie. Whether it's Cars, whether it's Shrek, whether it's something else than an animated movie like The Notebook. Every hero goes through the same journey. You start at a familiar situation, also the known. And you can sketch this out in your books, or you can take a picture, because this is going to be a framework that's really going to help you a lot. And there is a call to adventure. So we have, for example, the story of Shrek, right? He's in a swamp. That's his familiar situation. There is a call to action. His species gets disturbed. Then there's a supernatural act, something like a quest, right? He needs to go on an adventure. You guys are the same. You came to the university in a known situation, in an educational place. After this, you want to graduate, and you want to go into the world and become successful. So that's your call to action. Then you have a threshold where you dive into the unknown. And this first half, you can see it as a clock. You can say like, you start at 12, you go to 3. This is where you reach the threshold, where you go from the known into the unknown. You learn a new skill. You get a new job. Shrek goes to a castle where he needs to save Fiona, the princess. And if you really think about this framework, every single story that we've told, from the Bible all the way to the newest movie coming out, they go through the same hero's journey. It's a continuous cycle that gets iterated. And in your personal life, you have the same. Think about something that happened in your life where you overcame difficulties and obstacles. That's after the threshold, you'll find a mentor, or you have a helper, you have a challenge and temptations, and then you fall and find yourself in the abyss. The abyss is the deepest point. Imagine you're studying for this test, and you're studying, and you find yourself at the 12th hour, one day before the test, and you're like, how am I ever going to do this? It's so incredibly hard, I got so much stuff to do. That's when you are in the abyss. And this is where you find the revelation. So in every story, this revelation is where you, like for example, Kung Fu Panda. Who has seen Kung Fu Panda? Raise your hand. Awesome, cool. So you know Po Noodle, Dog Noodle? He finds the scroll of mystery. And the secret of the scroll is there's nothing on it, it's you. It's a reflection of his own image. That's the revelation. Oh, sorry, to go a little further. So that's the revelation that you got in the abyss. And then you have the transformation. After the transformation, you find yourself, you know, I can do this, I'm gonna go for it. He finds out Fiona is actually an ogre. The dude in Cars finds out he can actually drift, you know. In Kung Fu Panda, he finds out, I do have it, I have to believe in myself. And that's when you go back into the known again, into the return, and you find yourself at a new stage. It's pictured as a cycle, but actually it's more like a spiral. Because you go back to the known situation, but you're a little better. Imagine last semester when you did that test, you were very anxious before. After you finished it, and I tell you again, you have to do last semester's test, you're going, oh, it's cool, I got it, right? That's because you've elevated yourself a little over it. So how do you put this in a framework? How do you not get lost? Here we are going to give you some practical tools and tips to be able to conceptualize this, both in something like text and frameworks, and then also into the visual design. So I'll give you my secret sauce first. This is Creative OS. Can you press play? Prefer. Thank you so much. So who's familiar with Notion? You can increase the size, yeah? If it works, if it doesn't, it's fine. So here you'll see Notion. Notion is a very strong workspace app, and I use it myself. I created my own little thing. Here you can see all my tasks. They're all linked to projects. Here you can see my daily habits that I have. Here you can see all the team tasks that I give to all my people. And I even have my journal inside of there, my workbooks, everything that I need is in one like super app. You can even see my journaling has a certain structure, because every day I'm going through the cycle myself. Every time I need to, for example, give this lecture, I find myself last night at 12 a.m. still making these slides, right? Here I am in the revelation part, getting back to the known. This is what I use. This is what I give to my team, what I give to my students. Notion is a very flexible, powerful app. And later I'll also give you some resources, how you can get started. You can use it for note-taking, you can use it for all of that. What I use it for as well is to organize, if you can press outside of the video again. So you can see my projects as well. I have the project management in here. I can see the structure and everything. But what I also use it for is creating the marketing plan. So I just told you about the hero cycle. When it comes to business, when it comes to marketing, you want to make sure that you have this journey for your customer, that you understand this as well. So here's a middle screenshot, and I want to demonstrate something really cool with this. If you don't mind, and go to one behind there. So who of you is using ChatGPT? Raise your hands. Let me say it different. Who isn't using ChatGPT? Nobody? Or if you're afraid to say, it's okay, you can say it, no problem. I hope after this, all of you are going to use it more. So I'll give you a little example. You must know from your studies a lot of things that you can use. But here's a little template that I use for all my clients, and I've made like multiple $1 million companies using this. So here are a few strategic questions. And the way you need to fill these out is like you write an answer. So let's say we have like a web design agency or whatever. And then you put an answer and you put an enter. So you keep stimulating yourself to put more and more and more. After you filled all of this out, I will show you something cool. And we can take any of my projects from this Notion. So let's say like Dubai Property, for example. This is one of the recent clients that I started a collaboration with. We have a marketing plan for them right over here. And this marketing plan, it is in Dutch, but it doesn't matter because the AI is super smart. We can take out this whole marketing plan and we can use this. And inside the structure of the questions resemble a lot of the, like, what are your pain points? What are your obstacles? What do clients desire from you? What is the competition not doing that your target audience does want? So here we can put in like, read my marketing plan for Dubai Property. This is a GPT that I coded myself. It's like a branding and web genie skilled in certain frameworks that I use and specific web tools. And so because I have this whole like marketing plan ready, I filled it in. I put it in. Now this genie that already has all of the information that I previously gave it, I've now programmed it to do more with it. So from this base, we can do a lot. So you guys have done keyword research, right?
We've done keyword, yeah.
And you've done like content creation as well, right?
Content creation, we still didn't work on it.
Okay, so give me another theme that you guys find really interesting, like for example, Facebook ads, you've done that?
We've done this.
Okay, awesome. So check this out. Now we can say, write me 5 Facebook ad scripts with creative ideas for the ideal target audience. So we have the marketing plan where we've created the psychology and we are now, so this is like a Dubai Property kind of place, right? And now I've given it a very specific prompt, like use the marketing plan, use the fears, the desires, the ideas, all of it, and give me visual ideas, give me a headline, and give me call to actions and bodies using a framework that it already knows. So here we have a great example, your gateway is global investment. A welcoming, stylish office space with Dutch Emirati flag symbolizing local support for global investments. Invest in Dubai, made simple for Dutch speakers, because one of the USPs of this company is they help Dutch companies come to Dubai, right? And then they start off with a question, feel overwhelmed with the idea of investing abroad? You immediately trigger your audience to hook them in. And then you have our Dutch speaking team in Dubai makes your investment journey smooth and secure from finding the right copy. And this genie that you now coded with the marketing plan, you can do everything. You can say, right, I do rating website FAQ. And if you guys know what an FAQ is, it's great for like, frequently asked questions. It's great for SEO. It's great to answer a lot of the common questions that people can have about your brand. So, as you see, why invest in Dubai? Is investing safe for Dutch investors? You don't need to come up with these questions anymore. You just need to fill out the marketing plan. So, yeah, this is really something that elevated our game and it allows us to use these tools, the simple Notion template and ChatGPT, to create basically all of the things you need and all of the structure you might want to add.
And yes, many use it for your website as well, like what you
Yes.
create your website or create the ChatGPT, like to give this exact answers, and you just repeat the questions over and over again.
So this one I use a certain set of frameworks. So I'm going to give you guys the golden key when it comes to AI. Your prompt is everything. The quality of your prompt is everything. If you word a question really vague, it's going to be really vague. But inside of like ChatGPT Premium, you can actually go in here, and now I can actually show you Edit GPT. This one, if I go to configure, I give it a very specific prompt of what it should be able to do. And then during the conversation while I'm like prompting it, I have given it this knowledge. So here are frameworks like this one, how to make a high converting landing page, how to write a VSL script, what an SEO checklist should look like. It is smart enough to be programmed based on the frameworks that you have from science, from your books. You can actually tell it like one of the best authors you have right now in your studies. You can say, I want you to read all of his work, where you feed his work into it, and then you say, I want you to respond to me as if you were, interacting with me to make a website, stuff like that. So this is a little behind the scenes of how you can make something like this. But in general, if you just copy this and put it in a normal GPT chat without this pre-built knowledge, you would get the same results actually. So it's a very, just use a marketing plan that I gave to you, fill it out, you're gonna find it in here, and then you can play around with it. I'll give my Instagram or something at the end so you can ask some more questions, because this is just the beginning, guys. I want to show you so much more. Okay, cool. So this is what we just did. Did you guys find that interesting? Awesome, cool. Now let's talk a little bit more. Okay, I got the plan. We got everything down. We got the paper. We got the copywriting. We have the hero's journey. How can we turn it into designs and share it and use it with people, right? So the professor asked me, give me a lot of like visual things. So here is the program that is the industry standard right now for people to make visual designs for websites, for branding, for all of this. It's called Figma. Who's familiar with Figma? Nobody? Guys, you're in university to know this stuff. Figma, look it up, write it down. Figma is a free tool to use, and this is what it kind of looks like. Here I've put a little crash course. You can all make an account for free. Who knows Canva? Who's familiar with Canva? Why do you all know Canva but you don't know Figma? I don't know, interesting. So it's similar to Canva, but it's more professional. It allows you to do more things. Here you can see a little screenshot. You have a little paddle here on the side, and you can make mood boards or whatever, and then you can start designing pages up and down. Here's a little link to a crash course. When I share this later, you can check it out. It's like an hour, but in that hour you can learn the skills to be able to sell your services for thousands of dollars by just that 1 hour of lesson. And then here's a really cool framework to use when it comes to molecular design. So if you have the concepts, you have to understand that there's a collective understanding of what we like and what we don't like with certain assets, right? So if I say Dior, what's the first word that comes up to you?
Perfume. Perfume.
Perfume, okay. What is like, words like, is it kind, is it playful, is it, what kind of words do you have when I say Dior? Or luxury. All of you said luxury. How did it position itself to become luxury? Is it using Comic Sans? Would Comic Sans be luxury? No, right? So there is a collective understanding of what colors, what fonts, and what shapes we associate with what. If I say a very sharp-edged square thing, is that a good idea for a baby brand? Yes or no?
No.
Would a round be a better idea?
Yes.
Right, so these things come back into molecular design. So molecular design, if you could please press this link, Figma file, or I can just come up, like just this link here, yeah. So this is what Figma looks like. I'll just come and jump in here and I'll show you guys. Yeah. Okay, so when you create a brand, in the GPT as well, I can send this in the previous chat that we had, right? So it should just be brand colors and logo ideas as well as fonts that are in line with the ideal type of audience and marketing plan. So here you can see, even the AI, it understands all of the things I said, and then it suggests me navy blue, gold, white, and warm gray, because those are luxury colors. Right? It's not gonna come with, oh, use pink and this kind of stuff. And then it says modern skyline, a key in a palm tree, a monogram with, you know. So if you want to translate those ideas, you can use Figma to do so. So I'm now logged out, it doesn't really matter, but here you can see how I start with like symbol colors. This is what we call atoms. Like one color is an atom. One font style is also an atom. Then if we use colors and shapes together, we are creating molecules. These molecules, again, can be used to create more complex things like organisms. By the way, this is like an AI picture, so this guy doesn't really exist. But it shows us really what we're trying to communicate. This is a different brand. It's called Volangbouw. Volang means fast in Latin, or like fly, you know. And it says your partner in swift construction. And for this brand, if you look at this image, I have the red color, using it with another darker red color, and I create a molecule. That molecule I combine with the font. This is now called an organism. And then if I combine that with multiple fonts and colors and effects, I create a whole page. So when you start developing your brand and the visual identities, you have to use this molecular design structure, because based off of all of this, all of these colors and fonts and rules that you set for yourself, you can create very complex and very like intricate brands. And this is just a simple example. And you can see how it translates into, for example, a business card, where you have all of these things coming together into a really nice business card. So if you wonder how I did that, I have an hour and 5-minute video that I put in, where I show you step by step how I created that whole brand, and you can copy me if you want. So you can learn a lot from me. Now another thing that's really nice is you can make charts in Figma. So FigJam, if you on paper, if you make like, you know, I will have a landing page, and then there's a payment page, and then there's a thank you page. You can sketch and draw these out in Figma or FigJam. This allows for us to also make super interesting things like, for example, which is the essential architecture. Now, one of my clients, Grado Lazari, he's a high-ticket salesperson, and by just using FigJam, he recently made a video on YouTube using this as a schematic to explain to people what you can earn through high-ticket sales. So if you say you have a normal 9-to-5 job, or like you have an NPC life, you make like 2,000 plus, but it's not really valuable, right? And then you can go up the ladder, you can ascend into making more income than and here we link those to actually the modules and the different things that we learn in our community. Now, you made a video about this, just showing this FigJam, and it's allowed to communicate the value So much so that we have over 50,000 views. I think we've already made like 30, 40K in sales by using a video like this where you just showcase it. Also, if you want to impress your client, if you want to impress anyone, you can use this. Like a few nights ago, I made a little 2D graph with my friends, or a circle diagram using FigJam to say who's gonna live with who in what house, or how confident and reliable and trustworthy are you. You can place yourself visually into these things. So this visual conceptualization, super important. You can use Figma and FigJam, which is part of Figma, to do that. Okay. But can it go even faster? Because this looks like a lot, right? Looks like a lot of skills you need to learn, right? So here are the real secrets. Redo library. There is a program called Redo. It allows you to generate with AI complete sitemaps and complete structures that can be used directly into Webflow, into Figma. You can import these things directly from the program into your development tools, and you can speed up the process of development. So here's 2 more links that will showcase that. How are we on time, by the way?
We still have time, so.
Okay, cool. I'll skip over this. This is something you can check yourself. But I do have a video, I think. Maybe I didn't place it in. Okay, so we have a design now in Figma. And we use Read-on library to use ready-made assets that are already responsive, and we have a good idea, we have all of that. Where's the site? How do we build a site? You know, because I make websites, is what I do for a living. Well, meet Webflow. Who's familiar with Webflow? Hell, yeah, I don't want this. Webflow is the most powerful no-code visual website builder that allows you to build the sites of your dreams in no time. This is how you actually make money. People are willing to spend 10,000, 5,000, 20,000 euros, or in your case, I should say 30, 40, 50,000 dinars to build websites in Webflow. If you learn these skills, you'll be very great. So here I'm going to illustrate you what it looks like. If you can just press play. So, thank you. I showed you Figma, right? This is what I actually do. This is why people pay me a lot of money. I use the Reloom library to create the structure of what I want. Using ChatGPT, allowing myself to create the structure. I can even say, make me high converting structure. And then I go ahead and design all of it. It's the same thing as there, it's just a little bit more expanded. And then we do some reviews and we do some feedback on it. And then if you go and build it in Webflow, you'll end up with something looking a little bit like this. You'll see that the site translates into a fully dynamic, fully responsive website, with animations that are in accordance with the brand rules that you set up in your brand style guide. You will have all these little animations and all these little things that are making sure that people are interested, they stay engaged, all of that. And then you can see that this page is fully flushed out. It will show everything you want to see and more of a website. Now this is, if you use Readum in combination with Figma and Webflow, you can become like a superhuman when it comes to this stuff. You can do it super quick, you can do it super responsive, and people will not know you're using templates. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. I hate doing that. You should be very smart and deliberate with your time, because what is the highest good that you can give? It's basically your creativity, your power to think and come up with ideas. Now, executing the ideas should be a very simple process. Okay, cool. If we click out again, I think I can go to the next few slides. Okay, so here we reach to the final hacks that I want to give, and I need to jump behind there to show it. Whenever you're making something, I want to give you these as like an industry expert, quote unquote. The first thing is progress bars. So it might not be all relevant to what you're doing right now when it comes to your studies, but as you can see as I'm scrolling through this page, up here a progress bar is going. Now the reason I do that is because what do people like? You want to see it go to the end, right? So what are you going to do? You're going to scroll all the way to the end. These progress bars, they're also used, like most of you have TikTok and Instagram, right? You see those videos of progress bars? Oftentimes they trigger you to stay until the end. So this is one example of a funnel hem that you can add to every single website. Then the second one is the sticky nav. We saw it in the previous slide as well, but convenience is key. You want to make sure that the journey for your customer is as easy as possible. So here on this website, if I scroll down, you'll see another progress bar. You'll see I'm going through all of this. Now, if I scroll up, or actually I should have shown it on the other side, the screen comes back again. So let's go to turbo signals. That's a little shakeful. So if I scroll up a little bit, you'll see the progress bar comes right back. I mean the nav bar. So this is very important to allow your users to easily navigate the site. Now, another thing you want to do is you want to personify the brands. What you're learning right now about branding is that people buy with emotion and they justify with logic. So if you want to sell something that has no physical object, a lot of things I sell are just like information or tools, you want to make sure that you personify it. So here we have 2 trading algorithms, and I've personified them using AI into robots. So this one, he looks like a more bad boy kind of robot. This is Chadius. If you're a Chad, you're a very tough guy. This bot has a higher risk percentage, and it has also a higher chance of getting you the gains that you want. So this one is a more rough around the edges kind of persona. Now this algorithm, Albert, the name, the image, all of it is very deliberate to make him look like almost a butler, You want to make sure that the people identify with the personality of the algorithm as if it's like a person. So this one has a lower risk percentage and more consistent gains, but you need to have very high amounts to get in. So this is a great example of how you can personify brands. We have also another example that I'm going to show you right now, Organic Link. This is a lead collection agency, organic lead collection through LinkedIn. So link is in there in the name. With this brand, they have a polygon fox. And what I did with this brand is we show this fox in different ways to personify the agency through a fox. What do we associate with a fox? It's very smart, it's very clever, it's very quick, right? So even if you go to, for example, the contact page, not here, but like if you go up to the contact page, let's see, you'll see like a nice little fox that is going to evoke your emotions. Look at that. Oh, cute, right? So this is how you personify something like a service or an algorithm or an idea that doesn't really have a person associated to it. Very important. Then animations, visual, 3D icons, there's a definite grade. Like all of you will be bored if I just give you text. But you will love to see animations, you will love to see that. So here's another example of a client where we do this. They have a very boring product. It's like screening, you know your customer, that kind of stuff. So we visualize it using icons and all this other stuff to make it very alive and make it very easy to digest and understandable. Then appointment setting and calls. I can dive into this, but basically, I can't really log into ManyChat right now. Basically, you want to make sure that when you talk to a person, that they really feel like you're the only person they talk to, like it's your best friend. So when you make a brand, if you think of all the big brands that you like, they speak to you as if they are one-on-one with you, right? They speak to you as if they're a best friend. So what we do with a lot of our customers is we give them a fully automated ManyChat automation that when you say a certain keyword, like any message we brand or start, that they will get into a sequence and will classify them, their age, their budget, what they want to learn. So our closers, the people that will talk with them to make them buy something, have all the information they need. And this will help you tremendously in getting more money for your clients. And then we have a few other things, like if you make a call booking page, you want to make sure there's a thank you. Oh, this is not the one I want to show. Let's go to this one. So for example, they make a purchase. You saw a little confetti over here. You want to congratulate them. You want to reiterate the idea that you did something good. You spent money with us. Here's a little confetti. Here's a thank you video and what you can do. People will have a very good experience when you do that. And then also when the call is booked, you want to make sure that they will show up for the potential of buying your product, right? So we urge them a little. We're not done yet. Your booking call can still be canceled. Make sure you're using this before the calls. Watch this video, download Zoom, read the FAQ, all of this. It increases the chances of your person, your prospect, your lead, staying warm, showing up, and actually buying the product. Then I also have this other one. You want to put in some Easter eggs. You want to make sure you have little things that you can show to people, like for example, this FAQ. So if I open up this FAQ, you can see this is my friend and brother, Rosalind. He's kicking the FAQ open. It's these little things that make people really think about you and be like, wow, this company, this branding person, they really know what they're doing. They are putting thought and effort into these small details. And it doesn't make a big effect when you look on the site or how it functions, but on the user, the customer, it has a great, great effect. Okay, that will be it for when it comes to these funnel hacks. So, if you want to learn more, I recommend all of you to continue studying. Like me myself, I also have a whole community of people that I learned. This is not a pitch, I'm not going to pitch anyone here, but I can recommend school as a community. I can also recommend to just Google ChatGPT, because many of you didn't know about the tools that the industry is using right now. Like how I use ChatGPT, how I use Redo Library or Webflow or Figma. But if you want to learn more, always explore more things. Me, myself, I dedicate at least 30 minutes a day in learning and expanding my skills. And that was it, guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to give you the key takeaways. And the first one, it's the good that is many, not the many that is good. Always trying to go for quality, not quantity. You rather want to have 4 clients or a little work that really speaks a lot than doing so much that achieves very little. Also, try to focus on making the journey more enjoyable instead of making the journey a lot faster. Trains have reached their limit of how fast they can travel, right? But if you give someone a ticket, like, hey, you can join my train for €1,000, but you'll have your own butler, we'll give you a 7-course meal, the journey becomes much more enjoyable. The same thing you want to do in your branding, in your work. You want to make everything more enjoyable, not quicker or faster. The third thing, nothing is expensive. Raise your hand if you find paying me €50,000 right now, if you find that a lot of money. Raise your hand if you think it's a lot. If some of you are very rich, but a lot of people will say that's a lot. Now, raise your hand again if you hear this and you still think it's a lot. If you pay me €50,000 right now, I'll give you the keys to a brand new Bugatti Chiron. It's valued at €3 million or $3 million. You'll get the papers and everything included. Who still thinks that the $50,000 is a lot of money? Right? It's the same amount. What I did there is show you something of more value. So that hits on the next one. There is no absolute value. When it comes to selling, when it comes to buying, there's only such thing as perceived value. This ring can be worth much more to me than it can be worth to any of you here. I might be willing to pay $2,000 for it to get it back, even though I can buy a new one for $300-400 because it has sentimental value, or because it allows me to perform better in my company or whatever, right? So you can control the perceived value. Take that with you. That's really important. And the last one, as you've noticed in the beginning, the questions that you ask are the quality of the answers you can get. In the first 2 questions I gave you in the beginning, you thought of your wildest dreams and your obstacles. And then I said, imagine you've reached that point. How would you answer the first 2 questions? That third question allowed you to think from your future perspective. You went from I want to be a millionaire to maybe a billionaire or trillionaire, just by changing the question. So this is the most important one, and it keys into this. Just like the AI, the quality of your question is the quality of your answer. The universe is your genie. You're a bunch of young geniuses, and you have a magical box. Whatever you ask it, it will abide your commands. You just need to know how to ask. That's it. Thank you, guys.
Question.
Will you give us this PowerPoint?
Are you willing to pay for it? Yes, of course. Such an honor and pleasure to be here. You can get all this PowerPoint, you can get all the videos. There's a whole hour in there of how I show to the branding. There's links to tutorials, there's links to that framework. So all of that is for free for you, especially for your professor.
Thank you.
No worries, I got you. Yes, sir, Tim.
Can we also get the video on the chat as well?
Sure. You want to send me like a message or maybe like a group or something, or one of you, and I'll send the whole presentation. Thank you guys for wanting that. Yes, sir.
And a question, what is the difference between this Webflow website and Shopify? So is it also possible to generate sales through the Webflow?
Yes, of course. Okay, so this is really interesting. I can talk for hours about this. Webflow allows you to make very sophisticated and beautiful websites, and Shopify allows you to make really good web shops. But Webflow also offers e-commerce. However, I do have to say, right now the industry standard, if you want to buy an e-commerce store, if you want to sell online products that are not information products or services, if you want to sell physical products, the best platform is Shopify. But Shopify is very limited when it comes to being able to make those designs. So the websites I show you, you can almost only make them in Webflow with minimum effort or with the best results.
You're also offering Shopify website.
Yes, and here's the trick. You can create the front end of your whole Shopify store in Webflow, and you can export it as a theme to be compatible with Shopify. I'm thinking of a client that we're doing right now where we did this, but I don't want to show them the website because it's like a male self-pleasure brand. So it's not really, I don't want to show that, but basically you can, there's another one I can show, Mindflow. It's a mushroom supplement brand, but you can make a very impressive website with Webflow, and then using a tool called Udesly, U-D-E-S-L-Y, Udesly, you can export and translate it into Shopify, and you can offer that as a service to your clients as well. Any other questions?
How long did it take you to learn?
Yeah. So as you saw, I never went to school for any of this. I would say if you do 30 minutes a day for 3 years, you can be much further than that. It's about the consistency. If you watch a tutorial, like all of you have an iPhone or smartphone, right? Yeah. You'll have more knowledge and access to the information than any emperor or king in the history of humanity in your pocket. Do you understand the power of that? If you want to do anything, now you have AI, you can even prompt it. You don't even need to look at research. You can ask it a direct answer. So what I said, what's the power of the question? So you shouldn't ask me how long does it take you. You should ask, what's a better question to ask if you want to learn it yourself?
I think it would take me much less time than it would take you. So how much time would it take you?
Is it the time you want to know, or is it how can I learn as quickly as possible what you learned, right? See, the question is very, very important. Because if I tell how long would it take, 2 months, that's worth nothing for you. Or 2 weeks, it's worth nothing. But if I tell you how, then you can make something out, you know. You got the questions, guys?
The question?
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
How do you like it?
I love it actually. I learned so much.
Yeah?
But we're still doing the traditional thing with SEO, SEM, digital marketing.